Out of control inflation 2025. Out of control inflation 2025. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Call Halayim La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakmadash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who rule well and are worthy of their double honors. Peace and blessing to you, Aki, and pushing out this truth across the four corners during these last seconds of time. Kwam Yashala, Mighty Shalom. And this lesson is entitled Out of Control Inflation 2025. Out of Control Inflation 2025. Lord willing, this message is edifying. All right. Coming from this post, which says the United States is now having more people without work than available jobs. Again, America now has more people without work than available jobs. So this pretty much means that you have more people unemployed than work available, okay? And the scriptures tell us this is Haggai 1:6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. You see, ye have not enough. So now that not enough has trickled down to the workforce. The Americans now have no work, but also not only not able to get a job, but on top of that, there are no jobs available. So where's the society turning to? Where's the money system turning to? The scriptures say when the money faileth in Egypt, and we know ultimately America is spiritual Egypt, spiritual Sodom, and the money here is going to fail. According to Revelation 13:16, one of the centerpieces of prophecy, he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, to receive a charagma in their right hand or their forehead. And you see the society and the global wicked elites turning towards this UBI system, universal basic income. All right, and this society is reflective of that. Now you have, once again, Americans, U.S. now has more people without work than available jobs. So what is that ultimately going to lead to? It's going to lead to a crashing from the hills, like the scriptures say. All right, an economic crash. But on a more personal level in these American streets, all right, it's showing and it's reflective in the workforce. All right, people, and on top of that, people aren't wanting to work, okay? They aren't wanting to work because the job atmosphere, okay? You have people that are set up on these different jobs that are trying to get you off of the jobs, all right? They don't like what they're doing. So the service, like, and for instance, in America, on many of these corporate jobs and different restaurants and things like that, what do they say? The customer is always right. All right, customer service, we value ourselves in that. And ultimately, what has that trickled down to here in 2025, a hopeful year of our deliverance and destruction and judgment of Esau Edom? It's trickled down to Haggai 1:6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. And I just typed this question in on Google. All right. I pretty much typed in, is unemployment a result of inflation? And here's the answer I got. Because as it reads in Haggai 1:6, the latter end, it says, he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. If you have a bag that you're constantly putting substance in and constantly putting produce in, or putting your treasure in, or your storage in, things that you're storing up, and that bag has holes in it, what are you going to ultimately go back to that bag and see? You're going to see nothing in that bag. So that's ultimately America. You don't see the fruits of your labor. All right, you're not actually going to be able to. The scriptures say riches profit not in a day of wrath. And we're coming into the time of Jacob's trouble, where even if you're quote unquote on a level financially here in America, the scriptures say the money is going to fail here. All right, there's a new system that's being ushered in, and it's digital. So it's not going to be any more cash dollars, paper dollars. fiat currency. So that's the times that we're coming in. And that's what ultimately is reflecting on the workplace. That's why you see the jobs are decreasing and decreasing with the compilation of other factors, okay? But ultimately, it's out of control inflation. So it says here, can job shortages be a result of inflation? It says yes. Job shortages can be a direct result of inflation, as businesses raise wages to attract workers, which contribute to higher input costs. Right, so as it says, businesses raise wages to attract workers, which contribute to higher input costs. It says in a wage price spiral, continued wage increases and higher input costs lead to increased prices for goods and services, further pressuring businesses to find ways to cut costs, sometimes resulting in a slowdown of hiring and expansion. And that's exactly what's happening here in America, along with other factors, because you also have the type of work that's being pushed out there. All right, it's not lucrative. People are waking up to the fact that going to these universities, all right, and getting these different degrees aren't amounting to anything. All right, as the scriptures say, the wisdom of this world is foolishness with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So the ways of this world and how you're supposed to be, quote unquote, educated, right? That's foolishness with the Lord. The true and proper education comes from the scriptures, just like the true and proper money is the scriptures. All right, is this wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Okay, according to the scriptures, true money is land, cattle, gold, and silver. America doesn't deal in that. They deal in fiat currency. So we're seeing out of control inflation right now that's having a direct impact on whether people get jobs or not. All right, the prices are up. So guess what? People are having to either increase the salaries of the people that are on the jobs, okay, give them increases, or cut workers, right? So, and that's a reflection of the storehouses, because you have the storehouses. What's happening to them? You ultimately got what? You got them being scarce on their produce and products. So what's going to happen to the people that work in these storehouses, the people that work at Walmart, the people that work at Home Depot, Lowe's? That's just an example, but it's ultimately truth in it, because with less stuff on the shelves means less workers, and you have a direct result of this AI that's impacting, okay, that's taking jobs. And that's a ultimate assign to the end, man. Revelation 13-16, and also this UBI, Universal Basic Income, CBDC system, central banking digital currency. So it says, let's see if there's some more. It says how inflation contributes to labor shortages. It says increased wages. It says as inflation rises, workers demand higher wages to keep up with rising living costs. Right. As we just stated, it says rising labor costs for businesses. Businesses respond by increasing wages to attract and retain talent, but this increases their overall operating costs. Right. So meaning, just like, for instance, we could use this example. You have football teams, NFL. You have certain people on those rosters. They have salaries. So if you want to get a higher name player, you give out more salary to one, but it's going to cost another, right? It's going to cost somebody else on the back end, and cuts are going to have to be made. And that's ultimately the reality here in America, right? And the job force. And it's only a matter of time before it's a domino effect, and it hits the homes of the average everyday Americans, which it already has. And that's prophecy, right? There's a scripture say a measure of wheat for a penny. That's going into inflation, okay? I'm going to get it real quick, and I'll get it in the NLT. This is Revelation chapter 6. And I'll start at 6. It says, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Which is this truth ultimately, and that penny is going into denario, which goes into time 10, all right, a Roman coin, which pretty much goes into inflation. And I'm going to read it in the NLT, right? And it's going to show ultimately that's going into how you're gonna go into the storehouse one day and you're gonna find a good product, and that product is gonna be the same cost as a regular day's pay. This is Revelation 6:6 in the NLT. It says, "And I heard a voice from among the four living beings say, a loaf of wheat bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay. And don't waste the olive oil and wine." Right, so let's go into that word penny, because it said a loaf of bread is going to cost a whole day's pay. When you go into a store and you pick up a loaf of bread for $5, $6, however much it is, $7, $8, just imagine going back into that same store in that day and that loaf of bread is $100, $90. That's going to drive the morale of the society out of the window. If you're not built up on wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that's going to turn the society into a cannibalistic scene, man. Okay? So let's get that word penny. Denarian. It says denarius containing 10. It says a Roman silver coin in New Testament time. It took its name from it being equal to 10 asses, a number after 217 BC increased to 16, about 3.898 grams or 0.1375 ounces. It was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. From the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wage. You see, so in these times, scriptures say things that are written aforetime for our learning. So the same concept is going to apply here in 2025 with this out of control inflation. As it says, yes, job shortages can be a direct result of inflation. So the decrease of the jobs that we see is due to the increase in prices. They're directly linked, as we just pretty much went in on this lesson, man. Okay, and as it said in Revelation 6:6, a measure of wheat for a penny, denarius, okay, an average day's pay. So you're going to go into the store in that day very soon, all right, and something that costs $5 is going to cost $50 to $60, all right? It's going to cost 10 times that and more, man. And we know that. It's going to be hyperinflation, right? So, Lord willing, this message was edifying. We give infinite honors and praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Harachak Wadash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders, a great millstone. Peace and blessing to you, Akim, pushing out this truth across the four corners during these last sections of time. Kwam Yasha Allah, mighty Shalom.